Hi, I'm Lee Herbert, and I still haven't had a haircut. But that's not why we're here today. Let me explain. Today we're going to be looking at the CameTV V or CameTV 5 wireless video transmitter. Now, it's a really cool system, but let's first talk about why you would want to use something like this. So, the main reason why you would want to use a wireless video transmission system is very often you might have other people on set who need to see what you're filming, but it's a little bit inconvenient to have them sitting over your shoulder watching the back of the camera. So being able to have a wireless video signal sent to a monitor like this makes it a lot easier. They can sit somewhere else and still see what you're filming. The other time you might need it is that if you're filming on a gimbal, and so you're sort of on there on the gimbal, you need to see what's going on. Again, people not sitting on your shoulder need to see what's going on. Also, if you've got a wireless follow focus set up on your camera while you're using that gimbal, you might be controlling the gimbal, but someone else is going to be using the wireless follow focus to see what's going on. Now let's look at some individual things about the CameTV V or 5. The reason why it's V or 5 is because the range is apparently 500 feet. More on that later. The other thing to look at right off the bat is the price. So the CameTV wireless system as well as the wireless follow focus together as a bundle are $788 US. Now that's a pretty good price considering what you're getting, where other systems cost, in the multiples of thousands, but keep that in mind because as always you get what you pay for. So let's look at the things I like. To begin with, here's the transmitter. The thing that I really like about the transmitter is that it fits in nicely with my system. So you can see here that it's got a V-mount adapter and a V-mount connector so that it sits between my V-mount battery and my V-mount connector on the camera. The reason why this is good is, as you can see, my camera's got a lot of accoutrement added to it, and sometimes it's difficult to find where to put more things and add more things. So if I had to put a wireless transmitter on here, I might have to stick it on the cold shoe at the back, or I might get another arm sitting off somewhere. It's not the most convenient thing in the world. So having the wireless transmitter just slot in between the battery and the camera is pretty useful. The other really handy thing is all of the outputs that the wireless transmitter has. So it's got an in and an out SDI, so it can do loop through, which is really important. And it's got HDMI in as well, so it could take an HDMI signal if you were using it on a smaller non-cine camera. To that effect, it also does ship with this V-Lock to Sony NP battery adapter. So again, if you were using, let's say, an A7 III or a Blackmagic Pocket or what have you, and you don't have a V-Lock battery system, you can still use the transmitter with this adapter and a Sony battery. The really nice thing I like about the loop through is that it fits in nicely with my workflow. So I shoot with Sony FS5 Mark II, I capture ProRes RAW on the Shogun 7, and I use my Zacuto Gradical HD for monitoring for outdoors and all that kind of stuff. And so the way that I've got this set up where it loops through is that the camera is pushing RAW over SDI to the Shogun 7. The Shogun 7 is then pushing the signal out via SDI to the CameTV wireless transmitter, and the CameTV wireless transmitter is then via SDI segmenting the signal out to my Zacuto Gradical HD, and everything just works, which is great. Really cool thing that I found when I turned this on and was testing a little bit this morning is that I don't even have to have the wireless transmitter switched on. There's a little power on-off switch. I don't even have it switched on in order for the signal to get pushed through to the Zacuto, so that's kind of nice. Obviously there is power going through because it's going from the battery to there, but it doesn't have to be on and using too much power. So that's pretty cool. So now let's look at the receiver side of things. So fairly straightforward, not a lot to it. You've got a little channel button here, so if you want to switch channels, and it'll automatically find a better channel if you're having trouble getting a connection. You then got connection lights and power lights on the side. You've got SDI and HDMI out. Cool thing about that is they work at the same time. So I've got the signal at the moment going out via SDI to my Sumo here, but I could have it going via HDMI to another monitor or to something else. So again, as long as they're within physical connection to this, you can have it going out to two things. More on that in a little bit. Now let's look at delay while we're here. You can see there is a little bit of a delay, but again, that's, remember, $788 US. Yeah, you can totally put up with that. Now the nice thing is that physically the device has got a screw point on the side as well as the bottom, which is good to have those options to have it either on the side, so you've got different options to mount it. And as my wife always says when she brings a male friend home, it's good to have options. Moving on. A really nifty trick that this also has is that this actually creates its own little wireless network, which then allows you to connect iOS or Android devices to it at the same time. So let me show you how that works now. So here we're on my iPad, and I'm just going to go into the Wi-Fi networks, and you'll see that the Wi-Fi system from the Came TV will show up as one of my networks, and then you just tap to connect to it. Once you've connected to it, you then just go to the Came TV Crystal 5 app, which you can get from the App Store or the Android Store, and there you go. Signal's working right away, which is pretty cool. You've also got SDI loops, you can take a photo, you can start recording, you can do video look back, and then the system settings you can see here, you can calibrate it so you can see what kind of information you're getting in terms of code rates, encoding, signal strength, all that kind of jazz. So pretty cool. Now, Came TV recommends you don't do more than 3 devices connected at the same time. So you could have one monitor, 2 iOS or 3 iOS devices working with this, and this is really cool because it lets a lot more people be able to see what you're doing, and it gets to sort of share the signal around. So in summation, I think the Crystal 5 wireless system is pretty good for the price. The only little caveat that I sort of don't like about it, or that is something to think about, is the connection speed is a bit slow. And what I mean by that is if I switch this off and let these two disconnect from each other, and then when I switch it back on, it does take a bit longer than I would prefer to actually create that reconnection. You can see that it's come on and it's going to start having a bit of a think and it's going to reconnect, and we'll just wait and see how long that takes. So, know any good knock-knock jokes? Yeah, not me either. There once was a man from Kent. Can only get myself in trouble for that one. Well, while that's having a bit of a think, let's talk about the wireless follow focus system, which comes as part of this package. Again, it's not just the wireless system, it's a wireless follow focus. So why would you want a wireless follow focus? Loads of reasons. The first one that I would mention is the fact that if you are shooting up, there we go, it has reconnected now. Yay! So, the wireless follow focus system. As you can see, it comprises 2 parts. The follow focus that sits on your camera, it's 15mm rail system, and then connects and is powered via DTAP, so you can just pop that on. I would have preferred if there was an on-off button. Unfortunately, there isn't. It's just you plug it in and it comes on, you unplug it to switch it off. So it would be nice if you could just switch it off without it draining power the whole time while you're not using it. But look, it's not a big deal to switch it off. And then this has got an internal battery. I was quite surprised as to how responsive it was. So you just push the power button on the top there. Again, you've got connection points on the sides, both sides, bottom. And just have a look just how responsive that is and how quick it is to respond. I'm, again, also very fine points. If I just make slight changes there, pretty straightforward. Yeah, some pretty good results. A couple of things to look at with this. You've got this magnetic marker point, so that's easy to set your marker points. You can also set your marker points with these little knobs. Taking a closer look at some of the settings and options you've got here, it's really cool. You've got an A, B, C, and D, so you can actually set multiple points where you can set the focus to, let's say, this point, hold down A and then save that as the A point, then go to, say, that point, hold down B and then save that as the B point, and then you can easily just go from A to B and you can control your focus like that. If we then go back into the menu systems, you can see you've got calibrate, you've got motor control, you can control the time that it takes to go from A to B, you can power off the system from here, you can tell it what camera it's on and that gives you some extra functionality. You can adjust the display settings, you can go back to default, and then obviously you've got the about. So you've got some really cool features here, and you've got a lot of different options that you can do. Now the first thing is when you do set this up for the first time, you do obviously want to calibrate it. And with the calibration, you can do automatic, so I definitely suggest that's one way to go. And you just use one of the arrow keys to go back in the menu. So that's just a very quick look at the menu. You've also got a photo and a video button, so you can use those to capture. The last thing I want to talk about with this controller is that you can adjust this, which controls the tension that goes again. So this is really loose, but then I can tighten it and then it's tighter, or I can tighten it even more, and then it's tighter even more. So what's nice about that is this sort of goes with the tension that you might have on your lens. You can set it to sort of like the same tension that you have on your lens, and it gives you the same sort of feel on the follow focus as you have on the lens. And obviously you've got a USB at the top to do some firmware upgrades and so on. So for a little device like this, again, just part of the back, $788 for the wireless transmitter and the follow focus. I am pretty happy with that. Pretty good value as far as I'm concerned. So if you have any questions, any comments, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Subscribe, like. If you don't like, let me know in the comments so I can make things better. And yeah, we'll catch you next time.